Welcome to Peer-Guided DBT Lessons, provided by DBT Skills Application, Peers Helping Peers. This week, we will be breaking down our lessons into two videos. We'll be starting the week with DBT Diary Cards Part 1, and we'll be concluding the week with DBT Diary Cards Part 2. Please keep in mind that we're simply peers helping peers, working together to bring about more peaceful, constructive, and ultimately happier lives. In other words, a life worth living. Let's start out by taking a look at what are DBT diary cards. Dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, diary cards are in a table or a grid-like format which assists in tracking when a target symptom occurs, along with the skill used to cope with it. They provide a record of both the frequency of and the intensity of behaviors that are problematic. So what is the purpose of DBT diary cards? Well, DBT diary cards help us to keep accurate memory records, and they help us in discovering interwoven links. They help us with daily reminders to see our progress, and they help us in charting change. So let's start off by taking a look at influenced memory. Accurate information about problematic behaviors, both the frequency and the intensity, is needed to be able to change them. This provides us with clear signals of target behaviors that should be assessed. Mood and emotions can have a powerful effect on a person's memory. How we feel affects how we store and organize elements retained in memory. Our emotions also determine which memories are retrieved and even how we process things we remember. Our natural ups and downs in mood and emotions can result in us remembering mostly the positive or negative aspects of a situation. Because our fluctuation in mood can interfere with our ability to accurately assess a situation, reliance on our memory alone can make it difficult to obtain accurate information. Next on our list, we have interwoven links. The cognitive behavioral principles of DBT state that thoughts, feelings, and behavior are intricately linked, influencing each other. Changing a thought can change how we feel and behave. Changing an emotion can change how we think about a situation and how we respond. Changing a behavior can change how we feel and how we think. Deliberately practiced effective or positive behavior contributes to improvement of our thoughts and feelings. Filling out a diary card requires self-monitoring in all three of these areas: thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This self-awareness is widely recognized as the first step to self-improvement. Next, we have daily reminders. Since the card asks you to evaluate each DBT skill on how it was used or not, you are required to read through a list of all DBT skills. Since these skills are listed by module, you will be reminded of the objective of each. Reading these daily can help to keep them fresh in your memory, thus increasing the likelihood that the skill needed to cope with a specific situation will come to mind when it is needed. Next, we have charting change. When you learn a new DBT skill, it's like any other skill you learn in one respect. You cannot learn to use it without practice. The more you practice, the more skillful and masterful you will become. Being able to see not only the frequency of the skill increase, but also the effectiveness proficiency increasing over time Along with the positive effect this has had on your life, you will become more motivated to continue working hard to learn them all. Validating your skillful use of the skills helps to reinforce areas in which you have been skillful. Being able to clearly see where skills have improved the situation will make it easier to put them into use in similar future circumstances. Now let's take a look at how to fill out our diary card. First of all, fill in the dates on all pages. This is very important to do. All pages. Next, circle which day of the week you begin your week's record, everywhere applicable. Next, we want to look at our target behaviors. Many of us have vastly different target behaviors that we need to address. A unique quality of DBT is the flexibility of being able to be tailored to fit each individual. Target behaviors are problematic behaviors that interfere with a person feeling that they are living a life worth living. Most of us could list quite a few behaviors that fit this criteria, but we all have some which are more severe or problematic than others. Here is an incomplete list of some possible target behaviors. First, we have suicidal ideation, self-harm thoughts, actions, substance abuse, risk-taking behaviors, binge eating, social avoidance, escape sleeping, careless spending, poor money management, gambling, fostering unhealthy relationships, acting out sexually, promiscuity, lashing out in anger, inability to say no, freezing up with fear, negative self-talk, distorted thoughts, black and white, catastrophizing, mind reading, fortune telling. The list can go on and on. There could be many different behaviors you would like to change. When selecting our target behaviors, it's important to narrow these down to a smaller, more focused list to keep our undivided attention on those which occur most frequently and or are most severe. As we chart improvement in these target behaviors, we can replace those with other behaviors we want to improve. To narrow your target behaviors, sort order of severity and safety risk factors. Choose your 3 most serious problem behaviors. We've listed here 3 target behaviors as number 1, highest risk behavior. Target behavior number 2, frequent or severe problem. And target behavior number 3, other problem or behavior. List your 3 first targets in priority on your diary card. Next, record the intensity of each emotion. Enter the number that best matches each emotion's intensity in that emotion's column for that day, with 0 being not at all, 1 a little bit, 2 somewhat, 3 rather strong, 4 very strong, and 5 being extreme. Add a check on the emotion you felt the most intensely each day. Repeat this daily. And next, you want to record the intensity of your urges and actions. These urges and actions are those related only to those behaviors you listed as targets. First, record your target number 1, then follow this example for the remaining 2 targets. Enter the number that best matches each target behavior urge intensity in that numbered column for that day. Your target urge intensity is 0, not at all, 1, a little bit, 2, somewhat, 3, rather strong, 4, very strong, and 5, extreme. With your target, action, is a yes or no with a Y or an N. Did you act on the urge? Y for yes and N for no. Repeat this daily. It is very important to write down your personal notes and insights each week. This is where you would record those aha moments, when using a skill suddenly makes sense, rather than being something you are just practicing because it's assigned homework. During the process of record keeping, patterns will slowly begin to show. For example, you may notice that your target behaviors show a repetition following specific emotions. This is something that you would record in this section. You may discover through practice that one skill tried was especially effective for a specific type of situation. By recording that information here, you can keep a reminder to try that again if faced with similar circumstances. Likewise, you may find a skill more difficult to practice than others. If you record your reactions here with your idea on why this was harder, you can remember to look for other skills to use in combination with that skill to make it more effective. If practicing this triggers intolerable emotions, you may want to note to return to this one later after learning more skills. Skip to page 3. Pages 1 and 3 of our diary cards can be filled out from the beginning of DBT. Page 2 is used according to which module in the learning cycle you're in, and it'll be covered in the second half of our lesson. Let's take a look at some cognitive distortions now. Our list here has black and white thinking, filtering, overgeneralizing, mind reading, fortune telling, emotional reasoning, personalization, should statements, disqualifying the positive, catastrophizing, and labeling. Fill in the number of times each day each of these cognitive distortions entered your mind. The more aware you become of these distortions, the less often they will occur. An overview of cognitive distortions. If you're not familiar with all of these distortions, you can go to our lesson website for an overview of cognitive distortions. There you will find a link to the lesson that covers this topic. You will also find the link for our video on an overview of cognitive distortions in the video description below. You will also find a link on our lesson website to our quick reference handout covering an overview of cognitive distortions. You will need to get a basic understanding of these cognitive distortions as soon as possible in order to fill out your cards. Next, you will want to record positives accumulated each day. Participating in positive or pleasant events increases a person's pleasant emotions. A store of positive experiences helps us to keep our balance when the negative experiences in life occur. The less positives we store up, the further down our emotions will sink when we face the negatives that are part of everyday living. In order to build a life worth living, a person must accumulate positives. When positive experiences occur naturally, be mindful of them. Take special note that they occurred. If they do not, deliberately do something to add to your accumulation. This is not something that can be done only when you feel like it. If you don't feel like it, use opposite action. Think of accumulating positives in terms of adding pennies to a piggy bank. The more you save, the more you have available to help cover a drop in your emotional state created by negative. Save up for your next rainy day. For effective use, record daily. Once you feel comfortable with your ability to fill out these sections, please proceed to our Part 2 video, DBT Diary Cards, Part 2. Be sure to check the video description in the comments below. You'll find a link to the website lesson that accompanies this video. You will also find links to the handouts and worksheets created to complement this video. And while you're there, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it. Now, if you'll proceed to our next lesson titled DBT Diary Cards Part 2, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel, where our entire DBT course is now available. And thanks for watching. See you in Part 2.